Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Meet the Light. On this episode, we have Shiraz Baboo, who is a multi-award-winning author, an international speaker, a reality interventionist. He is known for helping people rewrite their reality and overcome challenges in their life. Shiraz has helped thousands of people to overcome illness, poverty, and unconscious addicted struggles. Overall, he is a renowned personality in the area of reality addiction, and his book, How to Rewrite Reality, has changed lives across the globe. So there it is. And welcome, Shiraz. Thank you so much for joining me today. I had met you through a mutual friend, and we talked via Zoom. And you were fantastic to talk to. After I got off the call, I was like, wow, you had shifted some things for me right away. So I wanted to get you on the show because I know that you will help other people too, just by listening to what you have to say. So why don't we just dive in and talk about realities and shifting realities? Where do we begin?
All right. Well, thank you so much for having me on the show, Jennifer. I really appreciate it. And realities, well, I mean, we start with our reality. We think that there's a reality and that's just how things work. And people don't realize that every person's experiencing a different reality. And if everyone has a different reality, that doesn't mean that there is a reality, which means whatever's happening in your reality can be changed. And when you really start to get how simple it is, it starts to blow your mind.
Mm-hmm.
So, for instance, I suffered from rheumatoid arthritis for 18 years. I got it at 22 years old, still in university. I had to drop out. And everything I did to try to get rid of it wouldn't work. So I tried medication, I tried diet, I tried supplements. Someone said magnets, and I tried that. Nothing could help me with the arthritis until I met a man that basically redefined my definition of reality. And working with him, he started asking me all these questions about my life. And I'm thinking, well, what's this got to do with arthritis? Like, he asked me about what happened when I was a kid and how my teenage years were like. And I'm like, oh, what? Like he was recommended, so I'm going through the process. And then after a few weeks, he said, well, here's the problem. You think you're responsible for everyone in your life. And no, I don't. I know I'm a responsible guy, but I'm not responsible for everyone. He said, oh, no, I know you don't think you're responsible. But from everything we've talked about in the last few weeks, I've realized that you've created this belief that you need to be responsible for everyone. And I said, okay, let's say that's true. So what? What's that got to do with arthritis? And he said, well, you don't want to be responsible for everyone. That's too much work. Like, yeah. And he said, and if you're lying in bed in pain, you don't have to be responsible for anyone. And you don't have to feel guilty about it. If people see you struggling to get through your days, they're not going to ask you to take care of them. So your arthritis isn't your problem, it's your solution. And that blew my mind.
So tell me more. What happened after that? Once that came to the surface, and I mean, is that something that you have to start believing? Did you believe, wow, that is the solution to this?
So I could see the logic in it, but I still wasn't really quite there. But for me, it's just like, okay, let's take up the challenge. So I said, okay, if what you're saying is true, then all I have to do is say I'm not going to be responsible for anyone, and the arthritis should just go away. And he looked at me, he was completely serious. He goes, yeah. What? He goes, if you believe it deep down that you don't need to be responsible for anyone, then you don't need the arthritis. I said, okay, I'm not going to be responsible for anyone but me. And I woke up the next morning, there was no pain, there was no inflammation, I had more mobility. I am freaking out because it's been 18 years of trying all these things. And then this guy says, stop being responsible, my arthritis goes away. Right? Except now I can look back and for 18 years, I was combating the symptoms. I wasn't looking at the cause. I didn't even think to look at the cause. Who would say, why don't you go look and see what emotional issue is going on and that's what's causing the arthritis? Like, no, try this pill. Take this out of your diet. Like that's the solutions we typically look for.
Mhm. Yeah, getting to the root cause, right?
Yeah.
That's what we're trying to look at, but sometimes we don't know what that root cause is. Whenever
Yes.
you're working with people, are there certain topics, certain things that come up time and time again that people have that are the same root cause, like across the board? If you standard dominant.
There's a few general ones. The most things people come to me for are money. Uh, and you know, because my forte is getting women coaches to $1 million in 2 years or less. And the things that are stopping most of them, a bunch of them, is worrying what other people will think. Right. So, you know, what will people think of me if I'm a rich person? I don't want to overshadow other people and make them feel bad. I don't want I don't want everyone looking up to me because now I've got to be a role model and I have to act the right way. And it's all worrying about what everyone's going to think when you reach success. So you sabotage yourself so you never have to worry about that.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
So your mind typically thinks 2, 3 steps ahead of where you're thinking.
Mhm.
So if you've got this worry that if you're rich and people think you're a stuck-up snob, or they're going to come asking you for money, or there's going to be so much work because you have to work hard to make money, right? All those different things. If you worry about them, then your mind says, "Well, if we don't make the money, we never have to worry about them.
I
It'll
can
never
see
come."
where that would come up a lot, that you have to work really, really hard to make the money. I think that's a program that we all been conditioned with throughout our lives.
Yeah, that's a very common program that's out there, and it's not that you have to work hard to make money. You have to be willing to work hard to make money.
Mhm.
There's a big difference because people started saying you have to work hard to make money because you'd have a bunch of people that's just like, I put in an hour today. Where's the money? Like, you're not going to get rich doing, right? I remember talking to a couple of my friends because they're saying the business isn't growing. And I'm like, weren't you playing StarCraft for like 6 hours straight last night? They're like, yeah. I'm like, what if you took the 6 hours or even 5 of those hours and put them towards your business and the other last hour to StarCraft? And you're like, oh no, I mean, that's our place of joy. We have to be there for 6 hours a day.
Mhm.
So they weren't willing to work hard to make money. Now, once that willingness is there, things start to fall into place. Partners show up, solutions come up, things that make life easier. So I've gotten to a point where I'll work my butt off to get something done. And I'll also happily sit on my butt watching Netflix and see money showing up in my bank account. And both are fine. Right? So, and everything in between. And as a result, I have a much easier life. I travel all the time. I'm making a lot of money. And life just gets easier and easier because I'm willing to put in the work. I mean, just this recently, there was a deadline for something that came up and like 2 days ago. And I was up till 4 o'clock in the morning, making sure I hit that deadline to get that information in, and boom, got it done. Right? And then, you know, this weekend, I'm just going to relax, and I know I will make money this weekend, even though I'm just relaxing because if something comes up, I'm willing to do it. I just know this is going to be a fun weekend.
Yeah. So your company's called Energetic Magic. So whenever
Yes.
you're working on these projects, and like you said, you stayed up till 4 o'clock in the morning, do you
Mhm.
feel like it's really important to stay in the energy of that until you get the project completed? How do your days look whenever you're working?
Oh, okay. So, well, that, if I wanted the gains, I had to put the work in. So that's like I'm staying up till 4 o'clock to make sure this is done because it was a deadline. There was a gift package that was being offered, and I had a gift and it wasn't quite ready yet. So I had to finish the gift to get it in the package because that was the deadline, or else it doesn't get in, and I have to wait like 6 months to get it in the next package. I'm like, no, this has to be done now.
Mhm.
And granted, like it wasn't that I was dragging my feet. I only found out about it 2 days ago. Like someone called me up and said, "Did you know that this exists and it's going out this week?" I'm like, "Oh my God, I totally want in that." And so then it's just like, okay, let's get this done.
Yeah.
So, but my days start off, uh, I have an audio that I created, and I use it in my programs that puts you into a state of mind for having a greater impact in the world and doing good, feeling good. So people can do a meditation. I like to listen to this audio. It's actually done through a friend of mine, Maury, who is a brain entrainment engineer. So it's got all sorts of I don't know what, biorhythms and binaural beats and other things that are involved in there. So it really just goes to penetrate the brain and get you into that state. So I get up and I just automatically put on my headphones and get into that. When I'm done, I go work out, get my body going, make sure I'm feeling energized. And studies have shown that exercise improves your efficiency 10 to 50% for the next 2 hours plus. And a lot of people, it's like, well, I'll get to it when I get to it, or I don't have time to exercise. No, this is actually essential to being successful, being happy, getting everything going so you're in a better state of mind. So then I do my exercise, then I go shower. In the shower, I've got my jams going. I'm getting myself in that great mood, right? And I'm singing in the shower, I'm having fun. And then when I'm having breakfast, I'm actually doing it. I still watch cartoons. I watch something fun, something light. Like I'm setting everything, the tone of the day, the attitude I'm having throughout the day, so I can be productive, so I can be happy. I have at least a big belly, one big belly laugh every single day, if not more. Like that's just the lifestyle I lead. It's not all serious. Let's get this done. It's fun. It's light. And that's what attracts other people to me, because that's the energy I'm in. That's what attracts business to me. And that also makes me healthier.
Yeah. Makes for a happy life, right? So
Yeah.
it sounds like what you're describing would be like getting yourself in that right vibration for the day, right? To really
Mhm.
get that attraction going on. Yeah. And how would you relate that to like there's so much mindfulness and meditation that's talked about these days. Would you say that's what you described as that part of it? Getting in the right
Yeah.
vibration?
So the audio is mindfulness. And throughout the day, I have mindful moments. Throughout the day, I'm actually being at the level of success that I'm striving for. I'm already feeling like I'm there. I'm being in the body I'm striving for. I'm already feeling like I have that. And all these things, I'm already being ahead of the time. And this is one of the big things that it's hard for people to do, because they're so busy worried about what they don't have, what's not there yet. They're in the I'll be happy when attitude. And so that's not going to create the results you want. And I know it can be tough. I've been there. I've been there with, I'm using one credit card to pay another credit card. And they're like, and you want me to be happy now? Are you insane? Like,
Right.
it's not going to work. However, you don't have to go to happiness. You can come to a place of neutrality, of acceptance. Well, this is just where I am in this moment, and I can change that, rather than I don't want to be here. I want to be here. I want to be any place but where I'm. That's not going to get you to create the things you want to create. So if you're in a big place of struggle, instead of trying to get to happiness, although happiness would be wonderful or gratitude would be wonderful, if you can just get to neutrality and feel neutral rather than crappy, that's going to have an impact. If you can get to happiness, get to gratitude is one of the easiest places to get to, because there's so many resources right now, gratitude journals and videos and exercises and stuff like that. Get on that, because gratitude, when you're in that, you create more reasons to be grateful. It's not just about being grateful for what you have. It's about that energy creates reasons to be grateful. So all of a sudden clients come up, or you start to get healthier, or your relationships improve. And then you're like, oh, and I'm grateful for that. And I'm grateful for that. And I'm grateful for that. And it just snowballs.
Yeah. So the gratitude list, being grateful for what you have today, but also being grateful for what you know is coming. That's what I'm hearing.
Yep. And being grateful for the stuff that happened in the past, not just the good stuff, but the bad stuff. If the bad stuff didn't happen in my life, I wouldn't be who I am today.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
technically, if my life had just gone fine and normal, I would be in a lab somewhere with genetic material and trying to look for some breakthrough, rather than coaching people to change their lives.
Yeah. Yeah, that's good. That's good. So changing realities, how quickly have you seen people shift their reality in
The
sort
shortest
of
we've
shifts,
had,
like major shifts, small shifts? What do you see with your clients?
the shortest major shift we've had took place in 2 minutes.
2 minutes.
Yeah,
I like that.
that's the record. Now, I'm not saying that's the
Yep, me.
record. That's not the normal. Okay, right? So, I mean, it's going to vary from person to person, and it depends on what's anchoring your reality in.
Mhm.
Like for me with the arthritis, it was one linchpin belief. We took that belief out, the arthritis went away. Right? For other things, it could be this belief and this belief and this belief and this belief and this belief, in which case we're just stripping things down until reality starts to change. And that's the other thing. You don't know what's going to happen. Is it all the beliefs have to go and then reality shifts? Or is it I got rid of some beliefs and now there's a shift occurring as we're letting go of the it's going to be different from each person. That's why you don't get locked into this one size fits all. I've seen people, it's like, oh, it was at a weekend retreat. People are having these huge breakthroughs and I didn't get it. And I'm like, yeah, because they only had that one thing holding it in, and you've got all these things holding it in,
Mhm.
right? The other thing that most people don't realize is that I've been to a bunch of these breakthrough retreats and stuff, and people will have these huge breakthroughs and their lives will be great. And things are just improving for a little while. And then it goes back to the way it used to be. Right. And so they've already given the testimonial for the breakthrough weekend. It's like, yeah, this was it. Except now their life is back where they were. And it's not because the breakthrough didn't work. It's because, I call myself a reality interventionist. You are addicted to your current reality. So what happens is you got out of it, you went into withdrawal, and you went right back down into it.
Mhm.
Right. So you have to start treating this as an addiction and not just as I need to have a breakthrough. Right? For instance, let's say um, let's say you're struggling to get by month to month in your life, in your business, and so at the end of the month you just managed to pay all your bills, right? And then you're like happy. You're like, wow, I did it. Whew, right, I made it through this month. You just flooded your body with dopamine, adrenaline, and probably some oxytocin, and your whole body went, oh, felt good. How do we get that again? Well, we have to go through a struggle for the entire month and then just manage to pay our bills. So let's recreate that. So unconsciously, you're recreating that month so you can get your fix at the end. Now, let's say you solve your money problems and now you're steadily making money. Your body goes, where's that fix? I need that fix. Right? It's going into a physical withdrawal. This is not just a mindset thing. Your body is craving chemicals. It's on a drug addiction. So then it sends signals to your mind to say, screw this up. Let's let these clients go. Let's have technology, like screw up our technology. And then you lose your profits. You start going into struggle. And then your whole body goes, ooh, that means we're going to get out of the struggle, at least for the month. And we'll get our fix. And we're back into that old routine again.
Wow, that's a different way to look at it. That's different for me. I have experienced that. I think most people have experienced that where it's not even it can even be a short time frame, one day to the
Mhm.
next, where you're
Yep.
wobbling back and forth. Um, but that's interesting. So is that where the exercise comes in to get your body in that.
Exercise is one of the components. The thing is, your body wants to be addicted to something, right? In a space of addiction, it creates homeostasis. So even if the homeostasis is struggles for the month and finish, or just a steady place of I never have enough money, or whatever it is, it's looking for that addiction. So when you try to get rid of the addiction, your body's going to go into withdrawal. If you consciously replace the addiction, then your body will more easily go into a new space. So, for instance, I used to get stopped at borders when I was traveling all the time. And I would get stopped, I would get asked extra questions or have my person searched or have my luggage searched. And it was frustrating. And I knew why. It's because I was Black. And I even had a couple of customs agents admit it. I was, this is your Black check. And he's like, look, I'm just doing what my boss told me. And I said, did your boss tell you to stop the Black thing? He's like, yeah. I'm like, okay, so it's not me making this stuff up. I've got people confirming this. I'd be with friends that are white. They didn't get stopped. I got stopped, even though it was obvious we're in the same group. And so it was just really frustrating. And I would tell people, I got stopped again. They're like, oh my God, this happens to you all the time. So working with one of my coaches, he's like, well, you're addicted. I'm like, this is just a story you've created to feed an addiction. And I'm like, what? And here's the thing. There's always a payoff, right? The addiction always has a payoff. You get those fixes of dopamine or whatever chemicals. So you have to figure out, well, what's the payoff? And I'm looking at it, I'm going, this is an addiction. This is racism. I've had people admit it's because I'm Black that they're stopping. Mm-hmm. And he said, but Shiraz, you don't get denied jobs because you're Black. You don't get stopped in traffic because you're Black. There's all these things that happen to Black people. They don't happen to you. You only get stopped at borders. That's not racism. That's a story running, feeding your addiction. Mm-hmm. I'm like, but if it's a story, what's the payoff? I'm getting delayed. I'm getting frustrated. I'm losing money. Like there's no payoff. And he looks at me and goes, Shiraz, when you tell your border crossing stories, you light up. You feed off other people's emotional reactions to your adversity. And you can't keep telling the same border crossing story because everyone will get bored. So you have to keep getting stopped at borders so you have new material. Mm-hmm. So I was just like, damn it. Like,
so how do you fix that?
So I made that decision that, you know what, I'm not going to get love, because that's what it felt like. They're saying, oh my God, I can't believe this happened to you. I hope things get better. That all felt like love. And I decided I'm not going to get love for my adversity. I'm going to get love for my success. I'm going to create so much success and hang out with people that are in that same space that are praising, hey, you did it, Shiraz. That was another success, another success. And I made that decision to switch my addiction. And I stopped getting stopped at borders. I haven't been stopped at borders. Right? So it's just really crazy how quickly things can change. And I have a lot more success. So I'm still having a fix on a regular basis. Mm-hmm. So yeah, you're going to be addicted to something. You might as well be addicted to being healthy, to having success, to making more money, to having wonderful relationships, right? Start choosing the addictions you want.
Oh, very nice. Seems so simple, doesn't it?
It's simple. It's not easy. Your body doesn't want to give up on what's already working for it, mm-hmm. right? That's why you go into withdrawal. And I've worked with people where we shift a belief and then they come back a few weeks later and we shift the same belief. And they come back a few weeks later and we shift the same belief. And luckily the period starts to get longer and longer because their body's staying out of it. And then eventually we just stop it because they're out of it, right? And again, it changes for some people. I shift the belief and it's done. They're just, we're good. And they've created a new reality. So it's a matter of being willing to go through the journey. The thing I found is most people are looking for that quick fix. Let me try this. That didn't work. Okay, let me try this. That didn't work. Let me try this. That didn't work. Because they're not accounting for it. They're going into withdrawal and going back to where they started. Mm-hmm. So when you're willing to go through the journey, you have miracles drop along the way. If you just want the miracles, typically nothing ever happens.
I see. So how long has it taken you to get through your belief systems or rewrite your belief systems with something that you want to believe? How quickly was your progress? And do you still come across roadblocks that you're aware of that you have to get through?
Oh, hell yes. This is a lifelong process, mm-hmm. right? One of the things I tell my clients is, as soon as you can walk on water, as soon as you can just drop one body, create another body and step into it and use that body, then you're done. Until you get to that level, you still got work to do. Right?
Yeah, work every day. I think everyone's looking for, they want to be on, I mean, ideally on autopilot. Well, everything is just great. We fixed everything. Everything's fine. We just get up and have a joyous day every day. And we don't have to fix any more problems.
See, the problem with that is it will get boring. A joyous day every day, because we live in a world of contrast. Mm-hmm. Right? And so if everything's always good, yeah. And this is also just one of my clients today, she's not moving forward because she figures if she has lots of money, then she's got nothing to do during the day. She's just bored, right? She's got a couple million in the bank. Then what do I do? And we are naturally inclined to grow. So what happens is when you do get to that level of success you're shooting for, you're gonna level off, and then you're gonna start to get a little bit bored, which is where your mind comes up with, hey, what else can we do? And you'll create a new level to go to, and then it stops being boring again because you go to that new level. You get there, you enjoy it for a little while, then it starts to get boring, and then you create another level and you start going up to that. This is where serial entrepreneurs come from. They create a business that's become successful, they've got it running, they're like, well, what's next? They could retire, they've got millions in the bank, but that's not who we are as people. Our inclination is to grow. The people that aren't growing are not growing because they've been taught different, and they're stuck in an addiction to not growing, thinking that somehow it's giving them a payoff. I mean, it is, chemically it is. Physically, it's not. Your mind doesn't care about the physical, doesn't care if you're sick or broke or alone. It just cares about the emotional fixes, which is a chemical fix.
I see. So what would be, I see people, because I work a lot in the energy healing. I work with a lot of different people that have different modalities. And people go and try a little bit of everything out. Is it better to stick with just one thing for a while until you can really fully understand that before jumping back and forth between all the healings and the belief shifting and coaching? I'm just thinking about my journey where I really started learning all these things, and I had to zone it into, okay, what really interests me, and then go deeper into that. What are your thoughts?
And that's it. Like, you can dabble and see what really resonates with you, and then go deeper into those things. I studied several modalities, and all of them felt either inefficient or there was too much, I don't know what the word is, like routine, like you have to do this and then this and then this to get the result. And some things didn't feel like it felt like they could be more powerful if they were done in a different way. And I got good at them and I was getting results with them, but it just didn't feel right. So eventually I boiled it down. I said, what's the simplest thing we can do to get the biggest results in shifting a person? And I created energetic magic. And like I said, the record is 2 minutes for a major shift in someone's life. And in 5-10 minutes, I can, like 99.99999% of the time, I can get a shift out of someone in some area of their life. So it's simple, it's powerful, it's quick. And it's really coming down to what was taught thousands and thousands of years ago. And people have just complicated it over the years. And I see how that works, is because when you know the stuff at the core, and you're especially if you're a master at it, you just do it. But people that are new, you have to put these things in so that they can step up to it and get it and understand it. And then eventually all those steps stay there as part of the modality, because the master is just still going like, whoop, shift, right? So, and that's what happens, and where a lot of these modalities come from. But at the core of it, it's intention. I intend for this to happen. I have zero doubt that it's going to happen. And by universal law, it has to happen.
That's the key, zero doubt, right? I think
Zero doubt.
I think the zero doubt is what hangs people up sometimes. And they're basing it off of their past experiences, right? And that's what I find. And that's where having zero doubt is difficult for people to get to.
Yep. And that's what faith is. Faith is technically having zero doubt. One of my favorite sayings was by a minister. He said, praying is what most people do between prayers. And then I'm like, what? And he said, you go to church on Sunday and you pray for good things to happen. You pray for great relationships, better health, more money, all the stuff. And then you walk out the door of the church and you're like, where am I going to get the next client from? And why is this frustrating me? And I have to deal with these people. And so your prevalent thoughts, unconscious, the ones that are just running, which leak into our conscious thoughts, are the ones that are creating your life. So if most of the time you're worried about money, you have to create a life where there's a reason to worry about money. If most of the time you are frustrated, you have to keep creating reasons to be frustrated, because that's the prevalent thought in your mind. And so you have to train yourself to constantly be in thoughts of gratitude, of abundance, of joy, of love. And is it possible to be constantly there? No, people are going to slip up, right? The more often you are in those thoughts, the more powerfully you will create that reality. And the hardest part is starting to feel that and think that when your life sucks, when there's struggle, when there's illness. And I've been through 18 years of illness. I have been through bankruptcy. I have been through heartbreak. I know how these things affect you and what it does to your mind. And in that, I still know, having gone through it and use these techniques, that when you can master being in the feeling and the intention of the thing you want as though it's there now, you will start to generate it. However, being in that intention is only half the step. The other half is removing all those blocks as to why this can't be. And when you use the combination, you create a new reality way faster than when you just try to do like affirmations and intentions, or you just try to do, work with someone to pull out beliefs. It's the combo. And that's what we do in energetic magic.
Yeah, the getting into the feeling of it.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, that's good. You'd mentioned something about what was learned way back in the past, ancient. Are you talking about, do you use any sort of ancient learnings or technologies that you've weaved in through your energetic magic?
No, for me, it's simply, I mean, technically, I guess yes, because I'm doing what people have done, but I haven't like researched and said this is what I just. After the fact, I'll look at other modalities and even like holy texts and say, oh, here it is, here it is, here it is. Like it's just every holy text is built on top of these principles, right? And the answers are there, but people are misinterpreting them and not getting what they can out of the books. Like, for instance, in the Bible, Jesus said you have to have the faith. If you have the faith of a mustard seed, you can build mountains, move mountains, right? And I talked to a lot of people. I said, what does that mean to you? And one of the most common answers is like, you just have to have a little bit of faith. And I'm like, no. They're like, no, but it's the mustard seed. I said, no, a mustard seed has no doubt it's going to become a mustard plant, which is a very powerful plant, right? So that's what it's life. That's the intention. It's 100% sure it's going to become a mustard plant. What we do as human beings is we start off as mustard seeds and we try it, and then we hit some adversity and he said, you know what? Orange tree. Let's go for an orange tree. And we try that, we hit some adversity. You know what? Grapevine. Like, right? So you have to get to that place of absolute certainty in order to move a mountain.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And that we've got the physical example in Dubai. They built a man-made mountain to go skiing on. They brought snow in. It's friggin' Dubai. It's absolute certainty that this could be done. Like even that the crazy idea, let's do this. And they made it happen.
Yeah. Have you seen do you see miracles in your life every day?
Oh, all the time. All the time. Big ones, small ones. It's fascinating. I had one of the classes I was teaching, we're talking about manifestation. And one of my favorite drinks is a booster juice. It's a smoothie that we have up in Canada. And one of the attendees goes, well, why don't you manifest a booster juice? And I'm like, what? And he said, well, you're teaching us about manifestation and how quickly and easily it can be. And you're supposed to be good at this. So why don't you manifest a booster juice? And I said, well, booster juice is like a 2-minute drive for me. It doesn't take a lot of effort for me to go out and get a booster juice. Also, I'm not a show pony. I'm not going to manifest on command. Would I like a booster juice? Yes. Does it have to be here right now? No, it doesn't. I am sure I will have a booster juice today, right? And it will arrive exactly on time, even if arriving means I've got to drive out and get that booster juice. The point is to get into this place of this is what's happening. This is where I am. This is how my life works. This is like everything is always working out for me. Mm-hmm. And at that moment, there's a knock on my door, and my best friend and I share a house. And he says, hey, I was just at Booster Juice. I picked you up one. And he hands it to me. Right?
I love it. And that's how it happens sometimes, right? A lot of times.
Yeah. So, and like the whole class is just like, what just happened?
I love it. That's a great story. Those are fun. And that's what makes life fun too, when those things happen, because they do somehow. So um, very interesting. Some people are talking about just the feeling and not putting any action towards their dreams. What do you say about that?
There has to be action. And the thing is, the action may not be the thing that manifests it. The action is showing that you're in the intention that this is what's going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
Right. There was another story. I think it was the Old Testament with when they're out in the desert with Moses with them out in the desert, and they need water, they need rain, right? And he said, "Well, okay, go pray for rain, and the rain will come. You just have to have faith." Right. And so they said, okay. And so then they went off and they prayed and they came back and they said, Moses, it didn't work. We prayed. And he's like, what? he said, if you prayed, it would come. And then he says, well, show me what happened. And they take him to where they were praying. And they said, this is where we're praying. And he goes, where are the bowls? Where are the holes in the ground? And they're like, what? To collect the rainwater. I mean, if you expected rain, you would prepare for rain. Like that's the action you take, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, so you didn't really have faith. You just thought, let's try it and see if it happens. And if it happens, then I will take action. No, you need to take action in preparation for the thing that you're manifesting.
That's good. You got to prepare yourself to receive it, right?
Yeah.
And that also the faith part of it. It's a great,
Mhm.
it's a great story. That's a great analogy. I like that. But in the case of your shake that you got, that just showed
Mhm.
up.
No, but I was going to get a shake. The intention was out there. Right.
So, small things like that happen to me a lot, where it just happens, or you get an intuition hit to do a certain thing and then it all comes together. Now you're very intuitive as well,
Yeah.
right? And that helps you with clients and helping them shift as well. Can you talk a little bit about that? How do you use
So
your intuition?
I can tell when your conscious beliefs match your unconscious beliefs. Right. So if someone says, I'd like to find the partner of my dream, I could be like, yeah, no, you don't. Right. So, and with I'm more diplomatic with new clients. With my old clients, I'm just like, nah, you're lying. I'm like, it's just so because they know I'm not calling them a liar. I'm saying your subconscious has a completely different idea of what your conscious mind has.
Mm-hmm.
So things like a relationship. If you were in a horrible relationship, you got your heart broken, and you make a decision, I'm never going to get my heart broken again. You may look for a relationship, but any relationship you have has a possibility of having your heart broken. So you will sabotage and make sure you don't have any relationship or only have shallow relationships so your heart never gets broken. Right. And so people say, I want a relationship. And I'm like, no, you don't. And then we have to get them to the point where they're willing. And here's the hard part, willing to have their heart broken again. Because in order to be truly loved, you have to open up your heart. If you open up your heart can be broken. So you have to go through that space, because what I found is if you're in the middle and everything you want is on one side and everything you don't want is on the other side, people say, okay, I'm willing to go from where I am all the way to the best possible outcome on the stuff I like. But I'm only willing to go a little ways towards the bad stuff. If I have to go through a little bit of adversity, but I'm not willing to have my heart broken or to go bankrupt or whatever it is. Now, the universe works on resistance. And the universe, to the universal consciousness, there's no such thing as duality. There's no good, bad, right, wrong. So for it, however much resistance you put in one direction, you're also putting in the other direction. Right. So if you're like, I'd like to make money, but I absolutely have to make sure that this doesn't happen, well, then you're right here, you're still stuck in the middle. If you're saying, I'm willing to make money and I don't care if people come up and start asking for it and try to, sell me stuff, and, because I'll just deal with it, then you've opened up that willingness. And then when you've opened up that willingness, you tend to get what's on the good side because the resistance is gone. So now the floodgates open for what you actually want. Mm-hmm. Most people don't get that. There's so much resistance going on to what could be. And I call it the as long as, right? I would like this as long as this doesn't happen, as long as this person doesn't say, as long as stops manifestation.
Mhm.
So when you are manifesting, check if those pop up in your head. As long as this, then that's something you need to clear.
That's good. It's excellent advice. I'm
Thank you.
thinking through it myself too. So the intuition that you get from people knowing that their conscious mind is different from what their unconscious thoughts are, is that a feeling you get when you're talking to them? Can you feel it?
It shows up how it wants to show up. So I've made this deal with the universe. It's like, let it show up how it needs to show up. So sometimes it's just a feeling. Sometimes I can hear a voice saying this. Sometimes I can detect a smell or a taste. Right? And it's so however it wants to show up. Symbolism. Like I was talking to one of my clients, and um, we were having a discussion about something. And while we were having the discussion, I just kept seeing the image of a suitcase come up. And I'm like, why does that suitcase come up? It's got nothing to do with what we're talking about. And so I wanted to ask her about the suitcase, except when I opened my mouth, instead of does a suitcase mean anything to you, what came out of my mouth was, who are you putting in your suitcase and taking with you wherever you go? And right after I said it, I went, what the? It just came out of my mouth. And she looked at me perfectly matter of fact, oh, my roommate. And I'm like, that made sense to you? And she goes, yeah, my roommate's always giving me travel advice. So I actually say I put her in my suitcase and take her with me.
Um,
And I'm like, okay, is stuff going on with your roommate? She's like, oh, that's a whole other thing, but that's what we needed to talk about. So
mhm.
that was me getting the intuition that we need to steer the conversation here. We cleared a bunch of stuff for her. It was just transformative for her.
Oh, that's amazing. That's amazing. So to get those intuition, you have to really just be present and be with people and be listening and feeling
Yeah.
however that comes in. Just being
Yeah.
open to
So
that information,
yeah,
right?
this is not a gift. This is a skill,
Hmm.
right? I teach people energetic magic. I certify people in it. And this is one of the skills you learn. And it's really cool because I have some people that have taken it that don't do this kind of work, right? One of my friends, she's high tech security, and she said, you know, I'm in a team meeting, we're going through, and one guy says, I ask him, have you got this? Can you handle it? And he's like, yeah, absolutely. And I'm like, no, you can't. Right? I could feel that he didn't have it. And I didn't like call him out and say, no, you didn't. I took him aside and I said, okay, what's going on? Because I feel like you're not really confident what's going on. And I was able to coach him through that so he could handle the job. But if I hadn't learned how to tell the truth from the lie in the energy of the person, I would have just let him do it and he would have screwed it up.
Hmm.
Right? So,
Yeah. We're getting close to the top of the hour. So I wanted to make sure that you had a chance to let the audience know a little bit more about your programs, your books. How can they reach you? Um, do you have any offers today?
everything you can be found at energeticmagic.com.
Okay.
And yeah, so my programs are there. How to get my book? It's How to Rewrite Reality. I mean, you can just go to Amazon, but you can also go to the website where everything's just located there. And yeah, I have a couple of free offers that people can use. Number one is I have created a series of audios to help you manifest, because one of the things people don't realize is for manifestation to occur, you have to be able to, I talked to somewhat about this, hold the thought for an extended period of time, typically 30 seconds or more on the same thought with the emotions. Most people can hold a thought for about 7 seconds, which is about the same as a goldfish. So the audios teach you how to hold thoughts for longer and longer periods of time so you stop thinking like a goldfish.
Mhm.
And I also do a free workshop second Monday of every month called Ignite Your Success, where I work one-on-one with the people in the workshop to cause the shifts, to get them clear, and they can come out of the workshop transformed and start showing up differently in their lives.
Very good. Well, thank you so much. I will put some of that information below the video here. I appreciate your time. I appreciate all the great work that you're doing, all the
Thank you.
shifts you're helping make, that's helping people, that the shifts that they want to make for their lives. And I'm so happy that I got connected with you and
Me too.
that I was able to meet you. So, is there anything else you'd like to say before we go?
Thank you again for having me on your show.
Mhm.
And I really appreciate it. And, uh, you know, be happy.
Be happy.
That's it.
That's a great way to leave today. Be happy. All right. Well, thanks so much, Shiraz. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Jennifer.